Hey everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. 7 o'clock Sunday evening time for some Sunday night live chat. Looks like we've already got quite a few people on and ready to go here on YouTube. Nut Farm is here. Charles is here with us. Pete's on. Kevin L. Leo. Glad you guys are all here and ready to go. Let's see. Looks like we are connecting on Facebook as well. Alan from Arizona is here. As always, we are live on two formats, both Facebook and YouTube. As you see me glancing back and forth between the two monitors, that's what I'm doing. Scott's here. And it looks like Facebook is connecting as well. So we'll keep an eye on things over there, see how things are happening. Nope, did not find any 61 to 63 El Caminos. So, but it would have been funny if I had something cut into one. Dad's here. Michael Lagola's on with us. So glad you guys are all here and ready to go tonight. Look, a lot of you guys were on live this morning with us on the live yard walk around. Glad you guys did join us this morning and go out and wander around the yard. Mark's here. So just trying to keep up with all the comments that are popping up as people are signing in. So, but anyway, Alec is on with us. Lee from New York is here. So I had a good time wandering around the yard this morning. I jumped on Facebook for about 15 minutes or so. Wasn't on there very long, and then we switched over to YouTube on the live this morning. So got a short live on YouTube, and then of course we were on for a little over an hour and a half on YouTube this morning. So Jim's back for number 180. Bill Wagaman's on with us. But had a good time this morning. Some of you guys got to see what I've been working on, where I'm slowly, very, very slowly starting to make some progress. But you got to start somewhere. So that's what I did. So some of you guys got to see that this morning as well. Let's see. F-body for story time. Yep. Pete's ready for that. Mark screwed up his checking account. That isn't good. That's never a good sign. Kevin's on with us tonight. So anyway, Scott was on with the live this morning. Michael said he had problems with the YouTube feed this morning, so hopefully it worked well for most of you guys. Ken's on from Michigan. Sam's here with us. Roger's here. Glad you guys are all coming back and hanging out with us. So as we kind of get rolling tonight, obviously we had a lot of fun this morning. Alec has saved the yard video, ready to watch with his morning coffee. Perfect. So glad a bunch of you guys had time to spend some time on there with me this morning and go out and wander around. So, but anyway, one thing that has been going around a lot in the car world is about Steve Magnante. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that. I've never met him, but obviously the guy has an insane amount of old car knowledge. And I read a little bit about it since there's been so much of it floating around. He's got some sort of a bacterial brain infection or something. It sounds super scary. But what a lot of his friends are trying to do is encourage people to go watch his videos. Obviously, he gets paid for people doing that. It's not very much, but if enough people watch, it makes a difference. So So let's keep him in our thoughts. Like I said, I've never met him personally, but the guy is obviously a whiz of automotive knowledge. So we all want to be thinking about him and be pulling for him. He's definitely an asset to the hobby, and that sounds like an absolutely miserable situation that he's stuck in. So Alec likes what we did with the DX sign. Let's see. Lots of comments popping up here. Tweedly D's on with us. Alan's here. But yeah, it sounds like a pretty bad situation for him. So hopefully everybody keeps pulling for him. That's what everybody's trying to push, is go watch his YouTube videos to try to help him out, because obviously this sounds like a pretty serious situation and definitely is not going to be cheap. So, so that's what some of you guys are saying too. Yeah, everybody's heard it's a pretty serious deal. So yeah, definitely wanted to mention that and be thinking about that, because like I said, he is definitely an asset to the hobby. There's no doubt about it. Steel Ponies Jeff is here with us. And like Alec mentioned, like we talked about a little bit last week, I did add to the DX sign. You guys said you wanted to do it, so we slapped a nobody sticker on the DX sign in the blank space. I've seen some of these that have other stickers added to them, other promotional type stickers. when these were out on the pumps to try to sell other products. So you guys wanted a nobody sticker, that's what we've got. So all right. Facebook keeps doing wonky things. It keeps like jumping, but there's like no new comments. So try to keep an eye on that and see what it's doing. Triple the value of the sign. Well, hopefully it sells more raffle tickets. Kenny was on for a little bit this morning. Glad you made it. Tweedly D, did I get your raffle money? I don't think I got yours yet. Let me double check. No, I do not have yours yet, Tweedly D. Nut Farm says I need to autograph it. I don't know if that's that important. If the winner wants me to autograph it, I will autograph it. And Mark's Plymouth emblem got swiped when it got there, so that didn't work out too well. I mean, that was pretty brutal, Mark. I mean, you had to go to battle to get that thing, only to have it swiped as soon as you open the box. So. But what else is going on? Drag Week. Drag Week started today. Yeah, I don't know. The only person I know on it, yeah, maybe tomorrow, Tweedly, is Matt Frost, owner and proprietor of Rocky Mountain Race Week. Matt has the Hulk on on Hot Rod Drag Week this year, so kind of be keeping an eye on that to see how things go for Matt. Be pulling for him. No, Dad Ratty do not have logos, so. But that actually is Addie's truck, so I guess she kind of does because that is her truck. So we'll be keeping an eye on, definitely keeping an eye on Drag Week this week to see how Matt does. I don't really think I know anybody else on Drag Week this year. But when you know somebody's doing it, running it, you always want to kind of keep tabs on what's going on. Joe's Classics is here. Let's see, what else is going on? Went to the State Fair Friday, which wasn't that exciting, but got away for a day, went to the Kansas State Fair, hung out there for a little bit. It rained all day Monday and then rained all day Friday, so that kind of slowed my yard moving things around the yard. That slowed that down. Get one done with Gray Kitty. Yeah, we could do that. So Neil's here. Yeah, Matt's going to have a heck of a run with him. We'll see how that goes for him. But I did get some more signs hung in the shop at the yard on Monday when it was raining. So I figured that was a win. I don't know what Steve Magnante does call his YouTube channel. I seen it in one of the articles I was reading, but I don't recall it off the top of my head, Michael. Yeah, see what you got going, Brian, because I won't be around next weekend. So, yeah, get with me in the morning and see what we can get figured out, Brian. I've been going to call you this weekend, and I haven't got that far. So, but anyway, what I have been extremely busy with, as you all know, F&E Collector Auto Auction coming up October 7th. I'm getting extremely busy with that. I've got tons of videos. I've started putting the videos out. If you are not on the F&E Collector Auto Auction YouTube channel, be sure to jump over there and subscribe. I've got like 10 or 15 videos in there. I'm just start feeding them out. I didn't get one out today. I'm trying to get one out, every day, but I didn't get one out today. Let's see. Make sure I'm staying caught up here. But a lot of super cool stuff coming up that we've been listing for the F&E auction this year. So I was going to check some of this stuff real quick. And let's see. What went up this week? We got about 40 cars on there now, so it's getting to the point where there's enough on there where I'm getting forgetting what all was going up when it's going up. For Corvette fans, the 2013 60th anniversary Corvette convertible with a 427 in it. Killer 87 Chevy pickup. We talked about that, I think, a little bit. It's up. 87 C10 Silverado, basic long bed 2-wheel drive, but it's black and silver. It's loaded up, original truck, and it's just killer. 39 Ford Street Rod, 84 Monte Carlo SS. The 84 Monte Carlo SS, something kind of interesting about that car. If for you Monte Carlo fans, that car is actually coming from Pratt, Kansas. It has never left Pratt, Kansas, ever. It was sold new at that dealership. It still has that dealership sticker on the trunk. It still has the keychain on the keys from when that car was sold new. So that's kind of an interesting one. If you're a Monte Carlo fan, that's something you definitely want to check out. One of the best, most original 91 Chevy pickups I've seen in decades went up this week. That truck is phenomenal. You just got to go see it. Go check out those pictures. 66 old Starfire, those are cool. 87 GMC Caballero, 01 Chevy 3/4 ton diesel, and a bunch more stuff coming this week. 76 Monte Carlo, and a bunch of other stuff that is going to be getting loaded this week. So I've seen a few pictures of the Monte Carlo. It is gorgeous, black on black, 76 Monte Carlo, super sharp car. So I've been extremely busy with that. I've got more cars to list. Yeah, I think tomorrow. I got to check and see if the guy's ready. I got more to list tomorrow or Tuesday. That's right, Spanish for the GMC Camino. F&E Collector Auto Auction is the name of the auction. FEClassiccarauction.com is the website. Nut Farm liked the Lark wagon today. Yep, the Studebaker Lark Wagonaire. Those are pretty odd. I don't know what's going on Facebook. The comment section on Facebook keeps blipping and doing this. So I think there's a new comment, but there isn't. It's the same thing. It just keeps blipping. So I'm thinking something's popping up. So I keep doing this, and there's nothing new. So that, or you guys are sending a bunch of comments that it's not feeding. So correct. F&E. That is exactly correct. Thanks for clarifying that, number one. But that's been taking, obviously, a lot of my time and will continue to take more and more of my time here up until October 7th. So, but we have a lot of fun doing it. My partner, Chris Frosher with Car Auction Real Estate. I tell you what, you might want to go watch some of the auction clips just to listen to Chris sell. I mean, he's one of those guys that when it comes to auctioneering, it's like it's an art, and there's no doubt about it, and he is very, very good at it. He's one of those auctioneers where it's just almost entertaining just to listen to him. So you might want to go catch some of the auction clips and see just to hear Chris sell, because he's that good. His dad Jim also does some of the selling, and he is an expert as well. So, but that's why it works. We have a lot of fun with it. We have a great time. I own it with Chris and Jim. The three of us are partners in it, and so I'm fully vested in it. If it doesn't work and doesn't make any money, then none of us make any money. So we have to make it work for the amount of time and effort we put into it. Which we do really try to do a good job, but that's why we have to do it that way, so that hopefully we sell a lot of cars. Alex loves the 39 Ford convertible. That car looks amazing. So looking forward to seeing that. I have not seen that in person. That car is about 4 or 5 hours away. So we'll see it when it gets here that week. But a lot of cool stuff coming up this year. And it's going to be a fun year as always. Obviously, the market is adjusting, so it's going to be a little tougher year. But that means we need to work harder as far as getting videos out, getting pictures up on Facebook, working our digital media, things like that. So it's a lot of work to do it right, but that's how we try to do it, because we want to be fair with our consigners as well. Plus, we want to make sure that we get we want to make sure that any buyers are happy with what they get. There you are, Gary. How about that? Gary's ready for this at like 9:45 this morning, but what the heck, Gary? Let's go with an Auburn badge too. So be sure to keep an eye on that, FEClassiccarauction.com. There's going to be more stuff going up this week. And like I said, just going to get busier and busier here on out up until October 7th. It would be awesome if some of you guys want to come. Like I mentioned last week, the Best Western here in Great Bend has given us an $89 rate for the weekend of the auction. You just have to tell them you're coming in for the F&E Collector Auto Auction. They have that into their computer. Jess and Rico, I think, are planning on coming. Tractor Mike's always here. So it's a lot of fun. So do you charge to store a car? Do I have to bring it the weekend of the auction? We get the buildings. I think we're going to get the buildings about a week ahead of time this year. We've been getting them on Monday. Chris thought we may even get them the Friday before, like, 8 or 9 days before. So if you've got something you want to bring, Pete, just let me know. We'll work it out and figure out what we need to do and see what we can figure out. It just depends on when you want to come and what we need to do. So I need to get a drone for the yard videos. Yeah, except that'd be a little tough to run the drone and do the walk-arounds and everything all at the same time. So well, that doesn't work very good, Mark. If you're bidding on stuff and trying to run, if you got a bad knee, you're not going to get very far. So sounds good, Pete. Just let me know. We'll see if we can figure something out if you still want to get rid of that Corvette. So, but obviously that's what my life is going to consist of for the next 3 weeks or whatever. But hey, that's why we do it. And, because it is a lot of fun, and hopefully we sell enough cars to make some money. These things are expensive to do, even here in Great Bend, Kansas. We have to rent the buildings. We do a lot of marketing. We buy an auction package on collectorcar.com. We buy an auction package on Hemmings online. So we do spend a pretty decent amount of money trying to put this thing together. So if we don't sell cars, we're not making anything. So, but that's why we try to do it right. That's why we do the videos. That's why we try to get good pictures. And that's why we do, it goes on Hemmings, collectorcar.com. We do some print advertising in the Auto Trader. So our inventory pulls to their website. And then we have our own website, feclassiccarauction.com, as well as we use Proxybid for our online bidding platform. So the cars go on Proxybid. So anything that gets listed with us are on those 5 websites. Proxybid, massive collector car list. Probably one of the biggest in the world. They do Barrett Jackson. They do Vanderbrink. They do multiple large scale collector auto auctions. And that's what they want. They want to do cars and guns. So all of our when we do our auctions, they get pushed to their entire collector car list, which is massive. So Randy's here with us. Belgian badge. But anyway, that's what's going on. Stay tuned. We'll have more F&E stuff every week as we work our way up to the auction. Hey, maybe we'll see some of you guys here. New inventory this week. I did pick up 4 cars, none of which were on my list. So I gained 0 ground on here. I got 30 of them on there I've written checks for that I haven't picked up. Picked up 4 more this week, and none of them were on that list. They were all new stuff. Picked up a 79 Cutlass from a friend in La Crosse, Kansas, so can't wait to share you that one with you. 79 Cutlass Supreme 2-door. 2000 Pontiac Firebird, which obviously you may think sounds a little new, but obviously I'm an F-body guy, and I can't get to 100 of them if I don't keep buying them, right? Even though I'm nowhere close to 100. I've only got like 60 or something. So still got a long ways to go. But even though it was a basic V6 Firebird, it had something pretty special on it. It had one very important, very valuable upgrade that I wanted. So you'll definitely want to catch the video on that one when we get it up. 1960 F100 short bed, fleet side, big back window, custom cab. It's kind of rough, but still got the chrome grille. It's got the window moldings. It's got some really great parts on it. So that was an interesting one. 1997. Once there again, something a little bit newer, but I'm kind of glad I got it. 1997 Crown Vic P71, which are starting to get a little bit of a following. That car's 25 years old, 26 years old now. And the P71 cars have all the heavy duty stuff. That's what everybody wants, the police package. So there again, I don't think that that's a terrible piece to add to inventory. Is that stuff flying off the shelf today? No. But is that stuff going to be harder and harder to find? I think it will be, because you got to look at what's happening to a lot of those Crown Vics and Grand Marquis. They're being cannibalized for multiple different things, front suspensions for pickups. They become very popular demo derby cars, all that stuff that, where those cars just are not surviving. So no problem whatsoever adding something like that to inventory. They're, again, thinking ahead, hopefully thinking ahead. Like I said, there's getting to be a little bit demand for that stuff. So I got to grab while I can. That's another great point, Pete. Somebody asked about an 89 Z24 Cavalier this morning. I don't have any. Would I buy them? Absolutely. If I could find it, especially any of those 80s Cavaliers and absolutely any Z24s, I would buy anything I can get my hands on. You can't find that stuff anymore. But that's another great point, Pete. Somebody asked about that on the live this morning. That's where things are going. That's where we're heading. That's where the shift is. Randy agrees. There's a Marauder Club. Mark had a Crown Vic that was a cop car. Yep. So like I said, I will absolutely add that stuff to inventory. Not a problem whatsoever for me. And I picked up one other thing. I did buy one other thing that is completely out of my wheelhouse this week. And I'm just going to run it. I'm going to run it in the auction, no reserve, because they're getting popular, but I don't know much about them. I bought a 3-wheeler, believe it or not. Yes, when I picked up the Ford pickup and the Crown Vic, there was a 3-wheeler stashed in the corner of the garage. And so I bought it too. So we'll find out whether it was a good buy or a bad buy when after we run her through the auction here in 3 weeks or whatever. So it's not running, hasn't run in years. The engine does turn over, and it actually has its original certificate of origin from Honda with it, which is odd to actually still have that with it. So, yep, ATV 3-wheeler, Randy. 1982 Honda S185. Mark's got a pic. Yeah, I've got a picture of it here somewhere. Not a good one. I got one on the trailer when it's still dirty. There it is. I got it cleaned up today. And got pictures taken of so we can get it and got them sent over to the office so we can get it up and listed on the website. So I'm going to run her no reserve. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I'm going to win or if I'm going to lose. But yeah, that's why I took pictures of it when it still had dust on it, Joe. So hopefully we're going to find out after she rolls through the auction. So that's what I bought this week that was completely out of my wheelhouse and completely weird. But hey, like I said, there's getting to be a demand for them. Had the opportunity to buy it. Think I bought it okay. So, but we'll find out. Hoods and badge. All right. Promo model, badges and emblems, story time. Raffle, auction, magazine. Nut Farm Road one scared himself. So let's get moving into the promo model for tonight. Tonight's promo model, there again, we're moving up in time to cars that, I mean, these cars were pretty much almost an instant collectible. But the market is really, really starting to prove that now. Obviously, as you guys all know, I'm a massive fan of these cars. I have one, they were any kid's dream car in the 90s. Still remember the first one that I ever saw on a trailer, and then I actually had the opportunity to buy one for myself on the Dodge Viper. Tonight's promo model is one of the GTS Coupe, the 1996 Dodge Viper GTS Coupe. I remember buying these. I bought these after I started. I was on assignment in Minneapolis, and Chrysler actually had a Chrysler store in the Mall of America in Minneapolis. And they would have, cars on display, and they would sell memorabilia, promo models, T-shirts, things like that. So that's where I got this right after I started working for Chrysler in 97. This is the 96 GTS. In fact, on the back, it actually calls it a 95. However, the GTS technically was a 96. Has never been, still tied down, still tied to the cardboard, just like when it was new. But there it is. It has all kinds of little Viper logos back here on it. Great looking car. Obviously, as you guys all know, I'm a huge fan of Vipers. Obviously, you know, when I started working for Chrysler, I started in June of 97 is when I started with Chrysler in warranty administration. So that's why I wanted a Gen 2 Viper so bad, because I was traveling all over the country for almost 5 years. Every dealership that I went to had a new Viper on the showroom floor. It was, you know, kind of the dream car. So when I had the chance to buy one, it was local. It was in Kansas. It was a 99. It was a Gen 2 RT10, which the RT10 was the Roadster. The GTS was the Coupe. A lot of guys today prefer the GTS. My personal preference was always the RT10, for the simple fact that the original Viper was strictly an RT10. The car that I fell in love with when they first started producing them in 92, even when you go back to 89 and 90 when they were showing off a show car, it was always an RT10 design. So obviously the GTS coupes, and the GTSs actually do demand more money now than the RT10s, but I don't care. I like the RT10. That's what I wanted, and I had the opportunity to buy one, and that's what I got. So I am perfectly happy with that. This obviously is the GTSs were Gen 2 cars. They had these gills in top of the hood plus the front duct hood scoop. The Gen 1 cars, the hood looks basically the same, but it's all smooth and flat. These vents are there, but the rest of this stuff is not on the Gen 1 cars. So obviously this Viper is in outstanding condition, still in the original box, never been taken off the original platform. Were the 3-spoke wheels RT10? It depends on what generation. See, I don't remember what wheels I've got. I think mine has these wheels on it, but I don't remember. So that's what we've got for tonight. And obviously I watch the Viper market fairly close. I'm on multiple Viper pages on Facebook. The Viper market is getting a little wacky, especially on the last batch of the 2015, 2016, 2017 ACR cars, things like that. I saw one advertised a couple of weeks ago, Striker Purple. They made 20 Striker Purples in 2017. I think the car had 8 miles on it, and it was priced at $400. So if that, Pete says mine has 5 spokes on. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate that. My car is black and cognac. Black with cognac leather is what my car is. They made 128 99 RT10s in black with cognac. And my car actually has bad paper. It has a salvage title because it was a theft recovery. You know, they didn't wrap it around a telephone pole at 110, but it was a theft recovery. And it was kind of a weird deal that if you look at the Carfax, my car was sold new on a lease. And when it was about a year into the lease, it was stolen and recovered right away. And then it was immediately bought back by the person that had leased it initially. So I don't know, go do the math on that deal. But so it technically has a salvage title because of that. But that's, like I said, kind of a questionable deal. But obviously, I'm a fan of them. Number one says, rumor has they have some shells and chassis and build a handful a year for exclusive clientele. That I have not heard. But I do know that they are getting more and more popular. The values are definitely going up. I'm glad I got mine when I did because I got a pretty good deal on mine. And I'm definitely happy to have it in the garage. And, just because I've always wanted one, I was glad to have it. Now, to put it into perspective, just to kind of give you a rough idea as to why this is happening in yeah, that's right. The brother-in-law borrowed it trick. Yeah, something like that. Like I said, it just doesn't add up. And you can't hardly take one of those cars to a chop shop because Tony's here. Like I said, they made 128 of them. So if you start throwing black 99 Viper parts on eBay, and there's only 128 black RT10s made, it ain't going to be real difficult. It isn't going to take, you don't have to be much of a detective to figure out what happened. So, but if you look, they made Vipers from 1992 to 2017. In those 25 years, with the exception of like 09 and 10, there was 2 or 3 years they didn't make them. In that 25 years, they made about 32,000 Vipers total. And that's right, Scott. Some were given to schools, and then those were, as test vehicles, and then those were taken back and destroyed. So if you look at Viper production total for 25 years, it's about 32,000 cars. If you look at Corvette production in any of those years, 2000, 2001, 2002, anywhere in those snapshots, that's about how many Corvettes they were making every year. So they were making more Corvettes per year than they made in the entire lifespan of 25 years of the Viper. So, there again, supply and demand, like Scott said, a lot of those were done at school and those were destroyed. Multiples of these cars were wrecked and wadded up because they are brutal to drive. The early ones with no traction control, when you sidestep the clutch, you better be sawing on that steering wheel. And that's true. I can attest to that. You sidestep the clutch in a Viper, you better be sawing on that steering wheel because that car is going to be scooting and sliding all over the place. So I've done it. I know what it means, and I can see where how that can happen and how a lot of those cars did get wrecked. Mark, still have the black Schwinn 26-inch bicycle. Which one was that? I'm drawing a blank, but yeah, I've still got it. I think it's I can't remember which one it's called. It's the next generation of what was the Phantom. So, yep, I've still got it, Mark. All right, what else we got going on? The key is to parking it only one block over, hide it right on the nose. Yeah, exactly. Number one hurdles in high school, there was a game to see who could park a stolen car in the police parking lot the longest without it being found and stolen. I've never heard of anybody trying that, but that would be kind of interesting. Heather just got on here. Anyway, was the V10 of the trucks the same as the Vipers? I heard the truck engines were not that great. The Viper engine, with the exception of the Viper trucks, because they did put the Viper engine in the trucks in 03, 04, 05. They did make a run of those. The old V10, like from the 90s regular pickups, had absolutely nothing to do with the Viper engine, other than it was a V10 and it was a Mopar engine. Lamborghini helped develop the V10 for the Viper at the time. Chrysler owned Lamborghini in the late 80s as this car was being developed. Carroll Shelby heavily involved in the development of the Viper. It was designed to be a modern-day Cobra. That was the plan. That's what it was based off of. So, but as far as the actual regular workhorse truck V10, had absolutely nothing. I don't think there's anything that interchanges. Maybe spark. You might be able to use the same spark plugs. I don't know, but that's probably the oil filters. I think they use the same oil filter. Other than that, nothing is the same other than the actual trucks that they did put the Viper engines in. So I think they were called the SRT-10 Rams in the mid-2000s. Was it a split block at the very beginning? No, I think it was a one-piece block. I mean, it was designed and built that way in conjunction with the engineers from Lamborghini. So anyway, like I said, I'll be curious to see what happens with that market. I'm glad that I've got mine. I know that because I probably couldn't afford to buy one today the way these things are going. But, and Jim Wicks and I have talked about it. Yes, Chrysler did own Lamborghini in the late 80s. Lamborghini was a division of Chrysler. So get this thing tucked back away. But like I said, Jim Wicks and I have discussed the Viper market a little bit, and he told me 6-8 months ago, he said, if you want to add a Viper to your collection, you better do it now because you're almost too late. Because they are starting to go up that fast. LeBaron Town and Country. Actually, I remember the LeBaron Town and Country very well. Maserati infused LeBaron is basically what it amounted to. I like them. I almost bid on one. At Tulsa this year. They don't bring a ton of money. I've always kind of liked those cars. And I was this close to bidding on it. Dad's like, are you going to hit it or not? And I was like, I better not. I got too many other things I need to worry about. They're not a high dollar car, but I think they're a neat car. They did have a removable hardtop. They had a soft top. They were the same thing. 3-liter Chrysler V6. They were a LeBaron with Maserati trim. That's all they were. I think everything underneath was LeBaron. So, but I think they're a neat little car. I've always kind of liked them. And they are actually a good entry-level collector car, I think. You can buy those cars for $5-6 grand, a pretty decent one. So, something kind of different. I don't know that they'll ever go through the roof in value, but I think they are pretty cool. Chad has the info I never heard before. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's that much of a knowledge base, but I like those cars, so I know a little bit about them. I actually bought a whole bunch of new old stock LeBaron Town and Country stuff at a swap meet about a year ago, and I've actually still got it just in case, Well, I'm glad you guys called me, Heather. I'm glad that you gave me an opportunity to buy the Cutlass from you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys thinking of me, and I appreciate the sign. We're definitely going to be sharing that with everybody when we get to that video. And so I'm excited that you guys called me, and I appreciate you calling me on the Cutlass. So we're definitely going to be showing that Cutlass off that we picked up this weekend from the Grays. Yesterday it was. Everything's kind of running together. So Rick on Facebook, Ford F100 look good. You have. I'm not sure which one that we're talking about there, Rick. Let's see. TC was Town and Country. I thought it was touring car. I always called them a Town and Country, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was touring. I don't know. I always thought it was Town and Country, but Perfect Leo sounds good. Because they had made the Town and Country convertibles back in the 40s too. So that's what I was thinking it was, but like I said, I haven't studied up on them a lot here lately. So I don't know. One of these days I'll probably end up with one. Then I'll know more about them. But but yep, they actually made something special for me when I picked up the Cutlass yesterday. So you guys are going to be excited to see that too, which was very, very kind and very thoughtful. They called, not only did they call me to sell the car to me when they needed to get rid of it, they actually had something special waiting for me when I got there. So you guys are going to be excited of that. And like I said, that's above and beyond, and I super appreciate that as well. But anyway, done with the promo, on to the badges. The first badge we're going to talk about, we've sold a couple of these, but none near this nice. This is the one that I've had set back for me. Not an extremely rare one, but this one's in such great shape. Is it a 442? No, Alec, it's a 79 Supreme. So not a 442, but still there, but it is a complete 79 Supreme. So, that's still a win. This was used from the 1923 up until the early 30s, around 33, the Triple Diamond International. We've sold a few of these that were kind of rough. This is a pretty good one. Travis is here with us. The Triple Diamond International, the white with the blue in the center, of course, the International across it. This was the button type where it was pressed on the back to hold it onto the grill shell. Obviously, the enameling in here looks great on this particular International. Chrysler Cornet wagon. I think they did make Cornet. I think they made Cornet station wagons back in the 60s and 70s. Let's see. 3 and almost 3.5 by a little over 2.5. 3.5 by about 2.5. So a decent size. You can see against the palm of my hand, it is definitely a noticeable sized badge and a sharp one. So, yep, 6-speed special. Would he use this, Brian? That's another good point. So I like this one. I've had a bunch of them, but this is one obviously I set back. It does have a few scratches in it, but overall condition on this one is pretty darn nice. The next Badger emblem, obviously we're going to jump up to post-war, up into the early 50s, to actually a 1-year only badge, which is kind of odd, especially considering it's becoming a coming off the truck. Alec got one of these on the auction, but not there again. It wasn't quite this slick. So Alec did get one of these. So lots of you guys like it. I'm glad you do, because I like it as well. But this next badge is kind of different, kind of odd. Obviously, cars, they change styling of pretty regularly. Trucks, on the other hand, back in the 40s and 50s, they were about the same thing for 4, 5, 6, 7 years at a shot. They didn't really make many changes in them. You look at Chevrolet halfway through 47 up to 53, other than like door handles and a couple little things like that, same truck. Ford 48 to 50, 51, 52, 53 to 55. There was always blocks of them. There wasn't hardly anything that was a 1-year only deal. That's what makes this piece kind of odd. The Dodge Pilot House truck came out in 48. And they used that body style essentially up to 53 with 2 different variations, 2 different front and 2 different noses. Fenders and stuff were the same, but the grill and nose panel was different, and the dash was slightly different. However, on the 51 to 53, they made one significant change that made a 53 stand out. The 48 to 50 era Dodge truck had a flat stainless Dodge badge across the front of the grill. They made a very similar badge for 51 and 52, just a flat stainless grill badge, a badge above the grill that said Dodge. 53, they changed that for 1 year and went to this kind of long, narrow, spindly type Dodge. This is actually an aluminum one. I've seen these in aluminum. I've seen them in pot metal. It is V'd because it went on the nose of the Dodge truck. But it is a very unique piece. Obviously, it's pretty long, not counting the V in it. This thing is 21.5 inches long. So it is a very unique piece. So something kind of different, something kind of odd that you don't see very often with this being a 53 piece, but definitely a cool Dodge badge for Dodge fans. And definitely a statement piece because it's pretty good sized. It's on Randall's 53, so yep, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's what we've got for tonight. A couple of truck badges, the International, as well as the 53 Dodge. So Nut Farm is very familiar with what we're talking about there. And Hudson badges and Auburn badges. What the heck? Let's go. Yes, this International is the flat version. The V'd version was 34 to 36, and they were smaller. So this is the flat one. Story time. I told you we had kind of an interesting story time about a Camaro. And it was kind of a weird deal. This car actually has a long, interesting story. And believe it or not, it got more and more interesting as time went on. Dad found this car originally in the early 80s and bought it for a parts car for another 69 Camaro that we were going to build, and there never did. But it had houndstooth interior. It had some good stuff on it. It was a factory rally sport. So he bought it as a parts car. He sold that car and he actually, after he took what we needed off of it, then he parted it out and sold a bunch of parts off. In fact, he sold a quarter panel off of it. Do you have any LS1 engines? I've got some stuff that have LSs in them, Colorado Memorial, but I really don't mess much with the LS market. That LS market is so screwed up that, unless you check the numbers and stuff on everything, the 4.8, the 5.3, and the 6.0 all basically look like the same engine. And for some weird reason, every one that you see for sale is a 6.0 with 40, 60, or 80,000 miles on it. So I just kind of stay out of it. Obviously, I'm running some of my Trans Ams have them. This truck is actually set up for an LS. It's just got a mock-up engine in it right now, but that truck is set up for an LS, but I really don't mess with them much at all. Brett's got an old cool Freightliner badge from the 70s. I bet that is cool. So, and hold that thought too. Speaking of Freightliners. And that's right. They're all LQ9, which I think are the good heads. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Joe. Everyone you see on Craigslist is a 6-liter with 40, 60, or 80,000 miles on it. I would never buy a used LS unless I was looking at the vehicle that it came out of and reading what was going on with, reading the odometer and knew the story behind it. Because, that or buy a crate engine or buy an engine from, there's guys that build them too. There are guys that, our good friend Eddie Wilson that does a Rocky Mountain Race Week with us. He does, that's what he does. He builds them, swaps them. Either you need to get an engine from a guy like that builds them and it's fresh, or you need to buy a crate. Yeah, Brian, we've heard of a Dover. Anybody remember the Dover? Who remembers talking about a Dover on here? We'll get back to that in just a second. But anyway, Dad sold this 69 Camaro back probably in the late 80s, early 90s after we actually sold the car we were going to build. And he sold this parts car off. I actually stumbled across the car again probably 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. Bought it back again. Very, very little left of it. In fact, not much left of it at all. But it was a factory blue with houndstooth 69 Rally Sport 4-speed car. But that's all that was left of it. Not a heck of a lot there. Yeah, that's right, Nate. Rolling the dice on used LS stuff's always a win until it's not. That is 200% correct. So I had this car sitting around for a while and actually decided that I was never going to do anything with it. And I actually threw it in a Craigslist ad several years ago, probably 10 years ago, maybe 8 or 10 years ago. And don't let me forget to go back to the Dover thing here in a minute. So I have this car advertised, and this guy from Western Kansas that I know, he calls me and says, I want that car. I really, really want that car. And he was going to trade me a pickup and a couple of and another truck cab and some other stuff for it. So we were working on this deal, and he said, fine. And then I got a phone call on it off the Craigslist ad from a guy in Colorado. He's like, I got to have that car. I got to have that car. I got to have that car. I was like, well, I got a deal working on it. He goes, I just got to have it. He offered me $500 more than what I had it advertised for even. I said, let me call this other guy and see if the deal's going to come through or not. So I called this other guy and he goes, I'd like to have it, but he said, I just don't have time to mess with it. He said, if you got it sold, go ahead and sell it, which actually worked out fine because when I put my 69 Z28 up for sale, the same guy that wanted this in Western Kansas really, 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 really wanted the 69Z. And we actually managed to work a trade out on that. So he actually got a 69 Z28 that was about 1 million times better car than this to start with. So it all worked out long-term anyway. But he said, don't worry about it, sell it. So I called this guy back and he's like, perfect. I'll overnight you a check. I'll have a guy come pick it up this weekend. So so this guy's telling me on the phone about how he, Dover is a truck, how he builds ZL1 clones. custom order ZL1 clones. And this dude shows up the next weekend. It wasn't the guy that bought it. It was a buddy of his. Sent him out to pick up to pick the car up. He had a Chevy Avalanche. It had ZL1 badges all over the Avalanche. I mean, this guy was like hardcore ZL1. Well, I found out here, 3 or 4 years ago, why he wanted this car so bad and why he was willing to throw extra money at it to get it. Colorado man pleads guilty in vintage car fraud. He was building ZL1 clones. Well, he was sending pictures of in-process ZL1 clones to potential customers who were sending him money to finish their cars. So, was sentenced to pay restitution of $1.15 million. Felony conviction. So basically, he collected about $1 million from people by advertising these ZL1 clones that he wasn't building. He had a handful of cars, which including this one, I assume this car was probably tied up in that mess. And he would send probably the same picture to 10 guys. And that's how it came up. So I guarantee you this car was part of that deal, because this guy was telling me about how he builds ZL1 clones. The guy's pickup has ZL1 badges all over it. 3 or 4 or 5 years later, this case breaks. And I looked up like Colorado Camaro fraud is how I found it. So I'm pretty sure that's where this car ended up at, was tied up in this ZL1 clone fraud, custom-made ZL1s. Accessory after the fact, I guess. But I sent in the title. So we did the paperwork. The title and everything was clean on it when I sold it to him. So that's, it was completely legit on my end. Check. Well, of course the check cleared. I mean, he needed another shell to show pictures. He probably sold it 10 times. So he could easily pay me $500 more because he had it sold 10 times. So anyway, told you guys we had kind of an interesting story tonight in story time about this 1969 Camaro Rally Sport that we'd owned a couple of times and then ended up sounds like in the middle of a massive fraud scam. That was a Challenger sitting next to it. Right here, 70 Challenger. It looks like some of you guys are having screen issues, so hopefully that frees up. Maybe you guys need to hit refresh or something. But yeah, that was a Challenger, and actually that car is available again. I sold it to a guy. They bought a ton of new parts for it. Tons of new parts for it. And actually, they just traded this car back into my buddy Doug Ray on the Fastback Mustang, on the 67 Mustang Fastback. So this Challenger is available if somebody is looking to build a 70 Challenger. But there you go. Kind of an interesting story tonight. Not much left of the old 69 Camaro. But, several years later after the fact, I realized why he had no problem offering me an extra $500 because he probably sold it 10 times. So anyway, okay, Jojo, he jumped out and came back in and everything was good. So let's see. I missed a few comments in here. Let me try to get caught up on some of these. All right. All right. I missed some of Heather and Brett's there. I'm trying to stay caught up on things here. All right. And now for the auction. Mark's awfully ready to go into the auction for not being able to buy anything tonight. But yep, crazy story for tonight for story time. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Raffle, who is in the raffle here? Real quick, let's get through that. And then we will get into the auctions. Leo's already loading. Raffle this week. Who got in? X-Ray Dean, Alan Harper, Mark Falcon, Bill Disk. Big Job. Kenny Peterson. Traded a Mopar for a Ford drawing and somebody. Actually, they traded 2 Mopars in on it, believe it or not. Check out the website, feclassiccarauction.com. Check out that killer lime green 71 Satellite. That's a cool car, too. Alec Blanchett and Dennis Chapman. So that's who is in the Big Buick oil can this week. What the heck? Let's yank a name out of the Big Buick oil can, huh? Everybody up for a bonus drawing? We haven't done one of those yet tonight. All right. Let's yank a name out of here. Bonus drawing, freebie. Just wonder how someone purchasing a fresh build doesn't want to check it out while it's being built. Well, they were sending them pictures. They were just sending the same picture to 10 different people. Who do we got? Who do we got? Who do we got? Alan Harper. Alan's still in trouble for the empty box he bought. Gray Kitty rule applying tonight. Gray Kitty is actually out in the shop. When I came into the office, she was actually sitting out on the bench. So Chunky Butt is the only one in here right now. And obviously, Chunky Butt doesn't jump up here very often. All right, let's see what we got for Alan in the big fleet can. Let's grab this, whatever this is. It's like a little toy. Oh, yeah, these cool little dinkies. Oh, this is actually a pretty cool one. Or Tootsies. Remember these little tiny Tootsies? Check out the little Dune Buggy Tootsie. These are pretty cool, actually. So, remember, these do not ship by themselves. They will ship with your next package. So, but we will write Alan's name on this one. And we will tuck it back in here. Right there, ready to go in Alan's next box. So we'll try to do another bonus drawing here after a while. Please, you guys remind me. Alan's out for tonight, but like I said, these are bonus. So you go right back in for the rest of the drawings. All right. So obviously this month, the big DX sign, the Rough Rider truck from Mark the Toy Guy's booth, and a Buick horn button. Kind of a menagerie this month, but all fresh meat from the Springfield swap meet. Couple more weeks left. Be sure to get in on this month's drawing. The DX sign is obviously amazing condition. And going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a good drawing. Hudson badge. Who's ready for some auctions? All right. That gets us down to the auction time. Everybody refresh. Hit your refresh button so you're hopefully up to date and ready to go. As always, full dollar amounts only, no change in your bids. We will hold up an item. We will look at it. We will study it. We will talk about any flaws, any issues with it. We may talk about that car a little bit. I'll give you some dimensions on it. As we're doing that, if you're interested in it, go ahead and throw a bid up. So I know that we've got interest in that particular piece. After we get done describing it, I will put you on a timer on my phone right here. We go 2 minutes. I will tell you when 1 minute has passed. I will tell you when 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. Everybody has a delay depending on your device as well as your internet provider. Phone, smart TV, PC, tablet, and your internet provider. Some people have a 5-second delay. Some people have a 30-second delay. The first few items that we auction, I will read all bids as I see them, even if it's not the high bid, so you guys can have an idea on what I am seeing as things pop up. Non-U.S. bidders, you're more than welcome to play. However, you will be responsible for shipping and getting me paid because of the expense of the wire and the expense of shipping out of the U.S. Everything tonight, I believe, is going to have shipping included. We do not have any larger pieces tonight. So we will, every shipping will be included in the 48 states on everything we have here. If you're new to us and you see something cool and you want to play along and you want to jump in, by all means, go ahead, throw a bid out there. And if you're not sure how to get me paid, which I take check, money order, Western Union, or PayPal, friends and family. If you're not sure, go ahead and bid. You can play along and then just call me tomorrow morning. We'll sort it out. Not a big deal. Simple, easy peasy. We'll get her figured out. Not a big deal at all. Like everybody said, hit refresh. Make sure you're up to speed. And we will go ahead and get rolling tonight. Starting off with a badge bundle. Yes, we're going to start off with a badge bundle tonight. Kind of a smaller one. We'll try to start off with a few smaller, cheaper pieces to get things rolling so everybody kind of gets an idea as to where the delays are at and things like that. First badge bundle tonight is going to be for our Ford fans. Yeah, I'm sure Brett would buy too much racing stuff and small block Chevy stuff, but that's what you do, right? Now, these are Ford badges. Starting off with your basic blue oval. We're going to throw one of these in the plastic blue oval, which are kind of, good for anything. This does have studs on the back. You could cut those off, stick them anywhere. Alan's kicking us off at 10 on the Ford badges, 4.5 inches on the blue oval. The next one is a 289, kind of the common 289 from a mid-60s era Ford. This does have one broken stud on it. These look like kind of like maybe an aluminum badge or something like that, stainless, something like that. On the 289, this one is, about 4.5 on the little 289, so very similar to the size of the blue oval. And the third one, another small one, but this is really cool. I really like these. The studs are broken on it, but it's a super cool little tiny Comet off of a Mercury Comet, like a glove box door or a dash. It's like real deep, kind of three-dimensional. You can see the angle on it. It's a really cool little emblem. I really think these were pretty neat. It is pop metal, and it is also 4.5. So basically, all three of these are about the same length. I've got Alec at 5 here, but I've already got Alan at 10 on YouTube as we kick the timer off on the Ford badge bundle to get things rolling. Like I said, I will read all bids as I see them so you guys can have an idea of what I'm seeing. Alan at 10 is my high bidder. All 3 badges shipped to you for 1 bid. We are live on the timer, ready to boogie. Alan at 10. Charles at 12. Was the Comet, you could get a 289 in a Comet, but it didn't come off the same car. It just came out of a Ford box I had. I don't know if Comet used that badge on some of them or not. As we come up on the 1 minute mark, there's 1 minute. I've got Charles at 12. This Facebook thing is freaking me out. It's still doing this flicking thing. So I keep thinking stuff's popping up over there, and it isn't. So Charles at 12. Kenny at 13. And there's the minute 30 mark. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed on the Ford badges. Kenny at 13. This thing keeps flipping over here to drive me nuts. Kenny at 13 as this one's ticking down. Just about ready to wrap this up. Kenny at 13, unless somebody snipes him. Alec at 14 over here. And that does it. Alec at 14. All right, get these buttoned back up here and taped back together so I don't lose any of them. Don't want to short Alec one because I didn't keep track of them. Do you ever have the blue Chevy badges like off the late 60s, early 70s trucks? Depends on which one it is occasionally, but there are different ones of those as well. All right, we're going to kill Mark, but I think this is the only batch of these we're going to do tonight. So, matchbooks. Yes, we're going to kill Mark since he can't bid tonight until he straightens out his checkbook. But they used them on all those years, but they were slightly different depending on the year of the truck. They were on the hood on some of them. They were on the grill on some of them. The bigger trucks used different badges than the smaller trucks, things like that. So, matchbooks. First one's kind of rough, but super cool. Taylor Machinery, Memphis, Tennessee, diesel tractors, engines, road machinery, allied equipment, Caterpillar sales and service. And it even had Caterpillar products on the inside. This is the only one, Mark. I swear, I don't think I put any more matchbooks in tonight. So, Caterpillar. The next one, Bantam lawn tractors designed for use by any member of the family by the Standard Manufacturing Sales Company, Lebanon, Indiana. That's kind of a cool one. That's true, Michael. I never thought about that. There's some Chinese stuff popping in there. Maybe that's causing the flicking. And New Idea, the New Idea farm equipment from the Forrest L. Rakes Company in Ashland, Nebraska. So there we go. All three of these. The Caterpillar's a little rough, but it is super cool. Freightliner with a cat. That's Brett's preference. All right. All three matchbooks. One-shot deal. Here we go. Let's make it happen. Who's in on the matchbooks? I better make sure I don't have any more matchbooks in tonight for Mark. So, got to go feed the cats. Nobody's bidding on them, Mark. Maybe they're letting you have them. I'm not getting any comments again here. Hold on. There we go. Joe's Classics at $3. $3. That's all it takes. One minute has passed. We only got a $3 bid on these things. I almost thought something was hung up. Then they started feeding again. So, Dennis at $5. Brian's jumping off. He can't get his feed to work. I hope everybody else's feed is working okay. Joe's Classics at $6. There's a minute 30. Minute 30 has passed. Just about ready to wrap this up. We only got a $6 bid on all three matchbooks. Leo at 10. Joe's Classics at 11. Few seconds left. We'll see what's going to happen. And that does it. Joe's Classics at 11. Kenny's feed is good, so hopefully most of you guys are working okay. Just Brian's isn't working at all the way it sounds. All right. Coach and badge. All right, we did a few of these a while back. I found some more. I thought they were kind of cool. Popular Mechanics. You guys seem to like these when we did some of these. Another batch of Popular Mechanics. 3 different magazines, 3 different years. Joe's starting on matchbooks now. The first one is Science and Mechanics, the magazine that shows you how, from April of 1959 with a Plymouth on the front. These things are just full of, not just car stuff. Just all kinds of cool stuff from the period that these things were printed. So going back to 1959 on this one, 1961 for the second one, with a little Fairlane on the front of it. Popular Mechanics, November of 61. And like I said, there's just all kinds of stuff in these things. Some car stuff, household stuff. You can order your subscription to Popular Mechanics on their Christmas special. Boats on the cover, the American Plywood Association. I don't know. We will look real quick, Leo. Or not Leo. Number 1. Got my lines mixed up there. Ooh, check this out. The inside back cover, I was just flipping. The inside back cover of this November 61. Check this out. Yeah, that's killer. Boats. How to build a national championship racing hydroplane is what it says. How to build my Class F racing hydroplane. It is a wooden boat because it's got the instructions on how to do it. Leo at 5. Here's the 1959 comparison. Chevrolet, Ford, and Plymouth in the 59 issue. And we've got one more. The Science and Mechanics from May of 1962, driving the turbocharged Corvair. Checking out the Gran Turismo Hawk. I've never seen an original one of the Hudson Hornets that raced. No, I have not. Kenny at 10. Let's go ahead and get these things on the timer. I've got Kenny at 10. You're getting all 3 of them. Science and Mechanics, and Popular Mechanics. Car ads, boat, or car info, car ads, boats, household, planes, all kinds of cool stuff. All 3 of them, one-shot deal. Kenny at 10. We're on the timer right now. Mark's back. You missed some super cheap matchbooks is what you missed, Mark. Tony's here with us. Kenny at 10 on all three magazines as we hit the 1 minute mark. Is that a homemade car wash? Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Build a portable 5-minute car wash. Kenny at 10, all three of them. And there's the minute 30 mark. Kenny at 10, just about done. That's it on all three of them. Leo at 14, right at the last second. Tony at 12, that was too late, but Leo had him covered at 14. 62 Fairlane. I know Leo likes these. He's bought some of the other ones, so. All right, let's see what else we've got. I don't know if we've got feed issues or if nobody's bidding tonight. So we'll see how things go. If we continue fighting it, we may just save this stuff for next week too. It doesn't matter. We can always save it for next week. So we'll see how these next few things go. If everybody's system is working, or if we do have system issues, because that's typically when some of this happens. Is when people say some people are fighting the system. So. Let's see. Oh, little toys. How about some toys? This is a killer toy, but once again, it needs tires and wheels. So, cast iron. I don't know what brand it is, and it's missing something on the back, but it is a super cool looking truck. Check this thing out. It's got the front axle and front wheels, but nothing on the rear. Kevin jumped out and jumped back in, and he's good to go. So maybe everybody needs to jump out and jump back in, or refresh, or do something, and see if if we can kind of straighten this thing out yet tonight. This is cast iron. I don't know what brand it is. I don't see a name on it. It is about 6 3/4 in length. Leo at 10, and about 2 3/8 wide back here. Kenny at 15. Brett and Heather had to refresh as well. So, like I said, another one of these cool little trucks just needs a little bit of work that I just don't have time to get to. So, Kenny at 15, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling on the timer and go with it. Kenny at 15, a little over 6 inches long, cast iron, super cool nose on this thing. On the little yellow cast iron truck. As we're ticking away on this one, there's nothing on the bottom that I can see. Well, there was, Kenny. I just can't make it out. It did say something right here, but I can't make it out. It's just too rough. I don't know if we can get the light just right. If you can see there, you can kind of see where it was right there, but I can't tell. 1 minute has passed. Kenny at 15. And there's the minute 30 mark. Kenny at 15. Kenny says he's got some, but he can't make out the brand. So, yeah, it's just too blurry in there. Kenny at 15. Few seconds left. Anybody else going to jump in on this one? Let's see what happens here at the end. And that does it. Kenny at 15. How about a license plate? We haven't done any license plates yet tonight. Nebraska, something a little bit different. And it's a farm truck, and it says it right on it, which is cool. 1972 Nebraska farm truck. All embossed right into the tag. Pretty heavy tag, actually. Has the state of Nebraska outlined in it, similar to the Kansas ones. Has the farm and the truck this is all stamped and embossed. Steel Ponies Jeff at 10. It's kind of a yellowed a little bit. I think it was probably supposed to be kind of a white, but it does have some kind of a yellowing to it. And then obviously bright red letters. Tweet Lydia at 5. I've got Steel Ponies Jeff at 10. So kind of a cool plate. Normal size, basically roughly 6x12. Alex at 22 on the Nebraska plate. So let's go ahead and get boogieing on this one. Randall's waiting on a cap. As we're taking away, we've got Alex at 22. And coming up on the 1 minute mark. And there's 1 minute. 1 minute has passed. Yeah, something weird's happening because some of these comments are popping up more than once on my screen. The same comments. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what's going on with that as well. I do know I can't refresh because it wipes out the whole thing. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. Alex at 22. Michael at 24 on Facebook. Just about done. A few seconds left. Michael at 24. And that does it. Michael at 24. Leo came in at 25, just a hair too late. And Michael was trying to cover himself as well at 28. Tony was at 25. Holy cow, there was a whole bunch of them hung up in there. Like 5 bids were hung up in there. And I don't know if they were late or if they were hung up because that was a lot of them to hit at the end there. But I had Michael at 24. Yeah, I think there's something's wrong with the whole thing. Because this whole thing is acting weird and not feeding right for some reason. Kevin L, it's definitely YouTube. His wife was watching YouTube on our big screen TV and it kept messing off. So, well, I tell you what, I don't know if we want to just hold everything, wait till next week on the rest of it, because it's not really fair to you guys if it's not working right. We'll go ahead and stick with everything we sold tonight so far. But, if we've got this much trouble, then it's not going to work correctly for you guys when we're dealing with, and see, GOB made the comment that, Tony was in on that. And I had, right after I called it, Leo, Tony, and Tweedledee all hit my screen right after I called Michael at 24. So I'm thinking that some of those were hung up in there. Randy says, call it a night for the auction. That's fair. That's kind of what I'm thinking, because that's the only way to be fair about it, really. If we're having this much trouble on the first 5 pieces, yeah, we know Mark's going for that until he gets his checkbook straightened out. I'm good with that, guys. We can roll right into the magazine. And Tony said he saw Leo on his end. Lee says he has to refresh every couple minutes just to stay current. So, yeah, there's something wrong. So let's go ahead and just save the rest of this till next week, which is fine because I'm going to be gone part of next week. So that just puts me in better shape for next week as far as I've got extra stuff ready anyway, but now I don't have to worry. Now I know I'm good. So I've got no problem doing that either. We'll go ahead and everybody that we sold stuff to tonight, we'll go ahead and stick with that because we did sell it. Unless you guys don't want it. If you guys want to go ahead and throw it back in, we'll do that. But anything we did sell tonight, we'll stick with that if you guys want it. Call me in the morning, Joe. That's the best thing. As soon as I get off, I have to log all my analytics. Tweedledee said he saw Leo for a long time. So, yeah, so there's something wrong. So we'll go ahead and work into the magazine. But call me in the morning, Joe. That works better. As soon as we click off, I log all my analytics. I start cleaning up this mess of all the auction stuff that I've got laying around. I start getting my paperwork organized. So calling me right after we're done usually doesn't work that well because I've got another 15 or 20 minutes worth of work to do after we get done, so that I can get out of here, at a decent, or still get home. I say at a decent time, but we'll see. Of course, I'm pretty beat tonight. I was here till midnight last night, and then I was back up at 7 to make sure I was ready to do the live this morning. So, but yeah, tomorrow's great. Joe's Classics. Do you have any sedan delivery? Depends on what you're looking for on that, James. Hopefully, Mark's got his checkbook straightened out by then. No, Joe's Classics. I've got you on the matchbooks at 11 is what I had. So I sleep from 11 to 5:45 is kind of my target. Try to go. Sometimes I won't go to bed till 11, but I usually try to go to bed at 10 or 10:30, get into a book, and that unwraps my brain so I can get to sleep around 11, and then the alarm goes off at 5:45, and I try to drag myself out of bed a little after 6. That puts me back at the shop by between 6:45 and 7 in the morning. So no 40 Chevy, do not have any 40 Chevy sedan deliveries, James. Okay, no problem, Kenny. Not a problem. I don't have any clones working for me, Mark. Nope. Yeah, I'm just not real smart, I don't think. But that's sometimes what it takes to get stuff done. Just like when I had to go get that Cutlass, yesterday from Brett and Heather. I had to get up there early because I'm working on I don't even drink coffee, believe it or not. I do not drink any coffee. I can't stand coffee. I'm trying to buy more real estate, and I had a house deal working yesterday, and I had to get back, and I spent a good chunk of yesterday getting that house deal nailed down. So yeah, if I didn't need more, we're buying more rental property. So the good thing about the rental property, though, is Shayla's very good at colors and paint and making sure things look cute and is good to rent. So she's very good at that stuff. But no, I drink Mountain Dew every morning. Not a coffee drinker. I'm into the Mountain Dew. So that seems to work for me. Could have bought your house and the Cutlass. I did not realize that Johnny Carson did not drink coffee. I did not know that, Kenny. I did not know that at all. I had never heard that. That's kind of a surprise. I did not know Johnny Carson didn't drink coffee. Hudson badge. And an Auburn badge. Mountain Dew is like 4 cups of coffee. Well, I fill this up about to here with Mountain Dew every morning. That's where we start out at. So I hadn't had any live wire Mountain Dew in a while. $100,000 and it's yours. I'm not buying as of right now. I'm trying everything I buy for right now. I'm going to try to buy right around Great Bend. So you take 90 though. So but I got a live wire, the orange Mountain Dew, which I really like. And I had not had a live wire in a long time on the way to the fair on Friday. Yeah, Shayla's ready to kill me. Yeah, that was interesting. Yep, I drink caffeine, just not from coffee. But yeah, I think if I ever next time I buy a live wire, I think Shayla's running the other way. So anyway, we got some spare time. We'll go ahead and get started on the magazine, but we do have some spare time tonight. So if anybody has anything else they want to throw in there, since we're going to punt on the auctions until next week, go ahead and throw up anything else you want to talk about. We'll get started on the magazine and roll into some of that. Tonight, going up to 1972, which is still 51 years ago, but considering the last magazine we did for the last couple weeks was 1951, we're definitely jumping up. I'm in a whole different world from 1951 to 1972 in the car world. Excuse me. So, kind of some cool stuff. Double fix caffeine and sugar. Yeah. Four-bedroom, 2-bath, full basement, remodeled with new floors and fresh paint. It is a nice-looking house. There's no doubt about it. If anybody wants to move to La Crosse, Kansas, that's a great house the way it sounds. I know it sure looked nice from the outside. Motor Trend combined with sports car graphics. January of 1972. So let's see what we've got inside this one. One thing about Motor Trend, we always know we've got the Detroit report, or this one was the international report. But there's always a lot of cool stuff in the international report. Apartments, I would look at apartments. Yeah, antenna and radio not included. Yeah, I know there's no way that Brett's giving up the radio. I would look at apartments. In our area, houses seem to rent better. The one that I just bought or in process of buying is just a nice little 2-bedroom, 1-bath with a single car garage. But so I would look at apartments. Just depends on what popped up. There's not a lot of big apartment buildings around Great Bend where I live, but like I said, I've got one now. Hopefully we'll have this other one closed on here in a month or two. So we'll see how that goes. But does anyone know somebody restoring early Chevy van G series have 2 brand new factory new old stock antennas? I don't know of anybody, but there is getting to be some demand for that stuff. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's, like I said, mom and dad have some duplexes and triplexes. They don't have any apartment buildings. I don't think my sister has many apartments either. Most of hers are houses. So, but I don't know. We'll see how that works out. That's my next play. But like I said, Shayla's really good at the colors and making that stuff look really cute, which makes them good to rent, easy to rent. So, but the 1972 issue of Motor Trend, the International Report. Remember, this is where we get all the up-to-date news from the car manufacturers, the rumors, the new news, things like that. From January 1972, changes are coming in automotive lighting. Quartz, iodine, and tungsten halogen European-style lights are expected to win approval of the federal government later this year. Initially, the minimum candle power will be raised from 75,000 to 150,000, still only half the 300,000 allowed in Europe. Federal safety officials say the 75,000 now allowed isn't enough because people are overdriving their lights on freeways. So new rules will allow systems with 5 or 6 headlights. Now, obviously, we know this stuff they got today has like 80 bajillion candle power when some people don't forget to turn. They got those light bars on. They forget to turn them off coming down the road, and they blind everything within a 4-mile radius. Those actually get pretty annoying. But Nut Farm has his Detroit Dodge Brothers badge on a gold necklace. Sweet. That sounds pretty cool. Shopcat's here. Off on Sundays now, so don't have time to visit, but had to stop saying, glad you stopped by and said hi, at least, Shopcat. Remember, we're in January of 1972. General Motors is still defending the Corvair. GM has reaffirmed its position that there is nothing wrong with Corvair heaters if the cars are kept in good working order. The government says there is and has ruled the 1965 Corvairs have defective heaters, which allow engine fumes to enter the passenger compartment. About 237,000 of the 65 model Corvairs were built. It is estimated less than 150,000 are still in use. The government's now investigating to see if Corvairs built in other years are also involved. Note to nobody, charge your iPad before the show. Great idea, number one. Yeah, Brett and Heather want to move to Missouri, so that's why they've got their house on the market. But all right, let's see. Trying to keep caught up here with comments. Okay. Auto crash tests are increasing. General Motors has made 3,125 full-scale tests since 1955. Ford has made 2,000 since 54. Chrysler 625 since 1965. Chrysler will double its annual crash testing to 272. The rear bumpers on 1974 model cars will be able to take a 5-mile-per-hour impact without damage. In deciding this, the Federal Safety Agency accepted a Ford proposal to raise the rear bumper requirement from 4 to 5 miles per hour. The 1973 models will have front bumpers capable of taking a 5-mile-per-hour crunch. Obviously, we know where that went. But that's what's cool. We're in January of 72. We're reading about this as it was new news. The federal government is investigating 41 possible auto defects. It has one list of 21 makes of cars and trucks with potential defects. The list also includes 2 sets of tires and 1 set of wheels. The second list is of preliminary investigations. There are 18 in this category, and they include such things as motorcycle helmets and child seats. But in terms of numbers, the largest case is an investigation of the possibility of a defect in the power brake vacuum check valve on all 1963 through 1971 models made by all 4 of the major U.S. automakers. So that's there again. We all know that has gotten nothing but worse. The federal government investigating anything they think could be a defect. Leo admitted he's got a problem. He's got a nobody's addiction. Mark's been told the same thing. Heather's father-in-law had a Corvair. It was a glorious heap of junk. I guess that's one way to put it. So we now know the federal government was investigating 41 defects in 1972. I think they look for 41 defects a day now on this stuff. Here's an interesting fact, considering we are in 2023 now. Onboard computers. Remember, this is January of 1972 news. Onboard computers are slated for General Motors cars by the mid-70s. General Motors President Ed Cole says GM is experimenting with onboard computers capable of monitoring such things as oil pressure, engine temperature, tire pressure, and the operation of the electrical system. Other sensors would be permanently located to monitor mechanical functions and speed up diagnostic work at service stations or state inspection facilities. The car would be connected to a remote computer over regular telephone lines, and a complete diagnosis could be performed within seconds, with a job ticket printed for recommended repairs. The computers are being developed for use with advanced anti-smog equipment and safety airbag systems being planned on 1976 cars. Yes, they did have airbags in 75 and 76, in case you didn't know. We have discussed those a few times here and there. But obviously, we know they really didn't see computers by the mid-70s. 80 and a half, GM had computers on about everything by 80 and a half. This next one is an interesting concept that did not happen, an inflatable bumper. An inflatable bumper has been invented by a Wilmington, Delaware designer, Daniel Hadley. Daniel Hadley says the device could sell for $40. It consists of a plastic bag folded into a 4-foot-long cylinder placed on the bumper. The driver, sensing an emergency, would push a panic button in the car to trigger the device. Hadley says the bumper should save the public literally millions in auto repair costs, not to mention the eventual savings in insurance premiums. And there actually is a picture of this, kind of, a little sketch. I don't know if you guys will be able to make it out, but it literally has a car with a tube on the front holding a big plastic bag or balloon that would pop out if you saw an emergency coming. So there again, we're looking back in time, knowing obviously that didn't happen, but people were playing with all kinds of different ideas back then. Here's another interesting factoid that we know now did happen. The GMC Truck and Coach Division may start building motorhomes next year. The firm built prototypes of 23 and 25-foot models. The steel-bodied vehicles will be built at the division's plant in Pontiac, Michigan. Meanwhile, Chevrolet denies it has any plans to enter the motorhome market with complete vehicles. It will continue to provide chassis to motorhome manufacturers, but the word that GMC Truck and Coach was considering entering the market in 1973 sent a shiver through the market. The motorhome market now totals about 30,000 annually, but probably less than half those are full-size units built on truck chassis. The remainder are van conversions. So I bet they sell a lot more than 30,000 of those a year, but we do know now that they did make that with the Tornado drivetrain in them. They were front-wheel drive with the Tornado drivetrain in them, GMC-bodied coaches. So it, we know that did happen. And there again, that's what's cool about this stuff is we're looking back with 20/20 hindsight. So, and that's right, Randy. There is a big following on those things, and they are pretty neat. They are definitely 70s, and it's a pretty cool deal. They are a pretty neat unit. They are big. They're big. They'd be big to store. I would think they would be a lot of upkeep, but they are cool looking. There is no doubt about it. And you're right, Randy. They do have a following now. A new seatbelt system is being developed by Ford. The company says the system may be better than the controversial airbags. And remember, airbags did come out in the mid-70s. Nobody bought them, but they did come out. And I agree with you, number one. I'm grabbing cruisers. If I've only got a few PT cruisers, but I will grab those. And I would do that, and same with HHRs. The new belts reportedly use a new energy-absorbing webbing and are designed to protect people from being killed or seriously injured in a 50-mile-per-hour barrier crash. So Ford was playing with seat belts while GM was playing with airbags. Scott Oldsmobile was the guinea pig for GM testing, was first to try Autotrans around 37, 38, and with the airbag too. I don't remember the Oldsmobiles having airbags. I know Buick had them, but I'm sure Olds had them too because they were, sister cars basically. Ford and AMC want to see ignition interlock seatbelt systems on 1974 cars, but GM and Chrysler are opposed to requiring them on all cars. The Federal Safety Agency has proposed putting the system on cars in 1974 as an alternative to the airbag, which has been deferred until 1976. GM and Chrysler say the warning system put on cars as of January 1, 1972 should be enough to prompt more seat belt usage. A buzzer sounds and a light will flash for 1 minute if the driver starts the car without fastening the belt. So obviously this was a pretty big deal in the mid-70s, talking about the seat belts versus the airbags. Obviously, definitely signs of government meddling, which we see boatloads of today. So let's see. What are we doing on comments here? Joe's Classics. One of my friends sold PTs when they came out. People were fighting each other to buy one. Yep. That's when I worked for Chrysler. I was actually with Chrysler when those came out. So I remember that well. Let's see. And actually, that's something else. Number one that I would buy if I could find first-gen neon coupes. I would absolutely buy a neon coupe race car if I could find one. No doubt about it. And yes, they did have little road course cars built out of those first early neon coupes. So, trivia: what safety feature in 1994 dropped accidents way down? Don't recall that one off the top of my head, Joe, but I'm sure somebody knows. We'll find out. A big fight is likely later this year on whether 1972 model cars are meeting air pollution control standards. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is going to test 2,100 cars to see if they comply with federal anti-smog standards. The agency has the power to order any cars recalled and the manufacturers to fix them if they don't comply. It's considered likely some cars aren't going to comply. The car makers are expected to argue that the cars don't meet the government standards because the factory recommended maintenance schedules were ignored. In prototype testing last summer, 10 to 15% of the 1972s failed to pass the tests. The failure rate was up over last year because the tests for 1972 cars are stiffer and more types of engines were being tested. The agency has to approve the prototypes before the engines can be produced, and now for the first time it's being called surveillance testing of cars on the road. So, third brake light. That must have been when it became standard. I know a lot of cars had it by the late 80s. But I didn't realize that became standard in 94. Randy, big market on neons for mini stock. These were actually like road course cars. But that's what I would want. One of the factory, I don't remember what they called them, but I would absolutely buy one of those. But kind of crazy. We're in 1972, and look at what all the stuff we've talked about in the Detroit report was about. Safety bumpers, airbag bumpers, airbags, seat belts, emissions, government oversight. Wow, that obviously none of that's all like just that was apparently the beginning, and it's just multiplied and multiplied and multiplied over the last 50 years. So they're required in 85, says Pete. I know that's when Corvette got them, so I knew that's kind of what I was thinking because my 84 Corvette does not have one, and they came out right after that. So, but there again. Everything in the Detroit report in January of 72 is government oversight. So just got worse and worse and worse as it went, obviously. Now, the next section, the next article we're going to look at, and we'll spend a few minutes with this, especially since we've got a little extra time tonight. One, we've got the time, and two, this article is so amazingly off the charts crazy that I know you guys are going to dig it. And we're going to want to spend a few minutes with it. It's entitled Cheap Thrills. Remember, we're in January of 1972. Seatbelt's a revenue law. That's another good way to put it. That's for sure. Cheap thrills. Once upon a time, supercars were everywhere. Now you have to search for them on used car lots. Here's a guide to the best of that vanishing breed. Cheap thrills. The supercar is gone. A vanishing species. Oh, you can still buy a new Roadrunner or a new Z28, but are you getting the real all-beef version or merely prettied up shells of supercars that once were? The continuation of supercar nameplates without the old punch under the hood masks the fact that many good veterans of the muscle car's golden age really no longer exist. Our point in making a survey of the used supercar market is the same as it was when we wrote Used Cars as a Hedge Fund Against Inflation in our June 71 issue. When something is no longer being made and is still in demand, its value drops initially, stabilizing after that as people realize the real McCoy is no longer available, and eventually the prices go up. We want to give you the inside dope before that happens. Well, they were pretty much right on where they were headed with this. But what can you get, say, for under $2,000 or slightly less than today's Pinto or Vega? Well, breaking open our imaginary piggy bank, we headed for the used car lots with the Sunday classifieds under one arm and our Kelly Blue Bucket in our hip pocket. Here, after much mulling, is our rundown on your best values in the oldies but goodies from the 60s. Buy one now. Obviously, they were dead on. Their first suggestion, the 1965, the 1966 Shelby GT350. If there was ever a zenith of the pony car, it had to be that special breed of Mustangs modified by Cobra builder Carroll Shelby. When Ford brought out the Mustang in 64, Shelby saw his chance to build a car with all the qualities he thought American GT cars should have. It had to be fast, good looking, and corner like bejesus. A sort of Cobra with a roof, as it were. Big jobs here. So, what's it say about the price of these Shelbys at that point? However, there is no way you are going to find one of these 65 GT350s for under $2,000 unless the seller has had his face screwed into a drain pipe for the last 5 years or so. If you do find one that's going for under $3,000, grab it because you've latched onto a bargain in the classics. Old Shell produced only 500 of these rough and ready 65s, and there are maybe only about 400 still in existence. So in January of 72, they were talking around $3,000 for a 65 GT350. Were you talking about the Dodge Neon SRT4? Now, these were earlier than that, Alec. These were back in the mid-90s. Chickasha. I'm still thinking about it. Chickasha for me is going to be kind of a last minute, depending on how things go with the auction, but I would sure like to go again. The next suggestion of a muscle car on the cheap to pick up, the 1967 Camaro Z28. Chevrolet smarted when Ford's Mustang grabbed all the ink, and then Shelby-ized versions took a lot of gold at the tracks. Only 3 months after introducing the Camaro in 65, Chevy homologated a new model, which the FIA referred to tersely as the Z28 as its option package number. So, in 69, Chevy added 35 more horses by going to the 350 Cube LT1 vet engine for the Z, which that actually isn't true. They were still 302 in 69. But by then, the price was climbing rapidly, so you won't miss the low-end torque. 302s are still the supercars worth searching for. Prices for a 67 Z28 vary, and they're looking at classifieds and Kelly Blue Book in 1972. Prices for a 67Z vary from $1,250 to $1,430. So there's the first two in this article, the 65, 66 Shelby and the 67 Camaro Z28. What's next in their picks? The 67 GTO. The GTO struck performance star of mid-60s America like a bomb. Instead of 5,000 car projected sales of the 64 model year, the original one, Pontiac sold 37,000 of them, setting off the whole muscle car mania. And I'm sure most of you guys know that story, but they were not supposed to build that car. They actually, shockingly, DeLorean broke the rules by building that car. They were not supposed to put anything over, I think, 330 cubic inches into the intermediate A-body platform. So they made it an option. If you check this box, didn't say you couldn't have it as an option. It said you couldn't put one in it. So they made it an option. You check that box, you got a 389 in the Tempest platform, called it the GTO. By the time GM figured out what had happened, they had already had 30,000 orders, and it was a little too late to stop the train. So it was not supposed to happen. However, in 67, they did go to the 400 for the first time, as opposed to the 389 that was used from 64 to 66. According to the Kelley Blue Book, people, a 67 GTO should retail for about $1,355 right now. But according to their way of thinking, you can subtract $135 from that value if it has a 4-speed. So that meant a 4-speed one's worth $1,220. It looks like Kelley considers 4-speeds liabilities, not assets. So there again, $1,200 to $1,300 for 67 GTOs. Okay, the limit was 326. I thought it was 330, but so the 64 Malibu had to have the 283. And obviously, we know Pontiac didn't ask. Yeah, we do know that they didn't ask because they didn't care. The next muscle car on the cheap in 1972, the 1968 Barracuda Formula S. In 1965, Chrysler took a dull Valiant and transformed it into the ungainly-looking Barracuda. It wasn't pretty, but in its hot S form, it was trick, especially with the fold-down rear seat, which made it a fastback station wagon of sorts. In 68, they changed the styling, slimming it down around the hips and developing an almost genuine Gran Turismo look. In 68, the 273 blossomed into the 340 with no increase in weight. Valve sizes were increased. Chrysler's target was the white-hot 327 Chevy. The S package was upgraded for the 340, continued with the heavy-duty springs and shocks, anti-roll bar, wide wheels, fast ratio steering. Those were really quite a car. In 68, Chrysler also offered the 383 in the Barracuda. But the Formula S Barracuda, the 273 or the 340 V8 versions, is the best buy because their current market value is so low. Prices vary, but a clean 68 Formula S 340 Barracuda, $1,350. They also found a 67 Formula S, mint condition with power steering, torque flight, and 17,000 miles, sold for $1,000. So, GOB signing off. Glad you're here with us tonight. Yeah, the Z16s, those are something you don't see very often at all. So there's the GTO and the Formula S Barracuda pictures for those two finds, or two preferred finds. So like I said, we're spending a little more time on this since we've got a little time, and this is such a great article. So there's like what, 20? No, there's only 3 more that they had chosen for this article, at least. Autolite 4100 carbs, I don't know. Depends on what used them. I would have to have some idea what used them to even see if I had anything that may have had one on it. The next one, the 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner with a 383. The Roadrunner concept was perhaps the only retrenchment direction from the constant push toward longer, wider, more expensive supercars. While the GTOs and Mustangs grew fat, almost obese, Chrysler one-upped them in 68 by taking their cheapest body, the Belvedere, and selecting a raft of hard parts from their performance bin to put under it. Obviously, the 383 with beefed up heads, intake, cam, and windage tray from the 440. Heavy-duty rear springs, front sway bar, faster steering. You had to pay extra for the front disc brakes, a 4-speed or a posi rear, which compromised the super budget car, but the Roadrunner was still a heck of an idea. Prices in 1972. They vary from $1,170 to $1,450. 64 to 66 T-Bird. I've got one or two of those that still have a motor in them. If you wanted to give me a shout, I could check and see if I still had anything left on that. If you want to give me a call tomorrow, I can get you on my list. So, 201 65 Z16s. Yeah, I knew there wasn't very many of them. Nut Farm's going to jump off. Glad you were here tonight, Nut Farm. Leo's going to jump off. Glad you were here. And that's fine. We're about ready to wrap this up. A couple more muscle cars we're going to check out, and then we're going to check out the ads, and we'll be ready to wrap up tonight anyhow. But the next muscle car they had as a goodbye, the 67 or the 68 Olds 442. Obviously, the 442s, cars that never really got, the credit they deserved. I usually answer from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. If you miss me from sometime between 8 and 8, Bryce, then just leave me a message so I can call you back. So, if I'm on the phone with somebody else, just have to leave me a quick message. But the 442s, obviously, they had a lot of great cars. Yeah, so your 350 Oldsmobile Jeep. They were great cars. They were always kind of overshadowed by the GTOs and the Chevelles. I've always liked them. I always thought they were cool. That's why I really like the Starfire that we've got listed for the auction, because the Oldsmobile muscle cars, the Starfire and the 442, were always overlooked. But in January of 72, the 67 68 442s, a well-maintained 67 442 can run you nearly $1,600. Or you can take chances on one they found for $1,450. The newer looking 68s run from $1,600 to $1,700. Norma was actually on with us this morning, Tweedledee. She did jump on the live this morning for a while. So, and the last car they had in their buy segment, suggested to buy, the 1967 Chevelle SS 396. The big block Chevelle. Obviously, a lot could be said about that. Who remembers the Mystery Engine? That was the name for the Chevy's first really big block, the 396, developed for Daytona. In 65, Chevy offered the porcupine head, also because of the odd angles of the valves in the Chevelle. And obviously, just like what we were just mentioned, the Z16 was the first Chevelle that had that motor in 65. Only a couple hundred of them built. But this is talking about the 67. We think the 67 is one of the best, preferably with a 375 horse Polycarb 396 rather than the Tamer 396. Why the 67? You could get disc brakes that year, and the body style was still the older, less sophisticated, and lighter version. Amazingly, the new sticker price difference between the higher and lower horsepower 396 was almost $500. That was a fortune in 67. Giving you an idea of how much stronger the 375 horse mill was put together. If you've got racing in mind, go the all-beef route. Cost here depends on condition, ranging from $1,325 to $1,400 in different parts of the country. So, anyway, is that going to be on the auction, the one that is on the truck you just brought into the yard? Let's see. The Gator. Oh, yeah, we do need to actually grab that Gator. I forgot. We need to grab the Gator. I actually forgot about that. But yes, we do definitely need to grab the Gator. So, but anyway, that does it for the Cheap Thrills article in January of 72 Motor Trend. And obviously, there again, it sounds crazy now, but that was a lot of money for a used car back then. So it's just weird. One more article we're going to look at real quick, kind of off topic. We'll check it out real quick. I know you bought a lot of cars. Is there one car you ever regret selling? Not that I can particularly think of. The biggest thing that I was upset about selling that I remember as a kid was when Dad sold the General Lee, but then he got it bought back about 15 years ago. So, but nothing I can really think of that I just really would be upset about. I keep too much stuff. One thing I want to look at real quick, just because it's so funny and just such a sign of the times, in this 1972 issue of Motor Trend. So obviously we think Motor Trend of what we just talked about, government regulations on new cars, new car tests, things like this. The fact that this is in here is we just had to show it to you and talk about it just for a minute, even though it's definitely off topic. The 1972 Snowmobile Buyer's Guide. Yes, they literally have the Snowmobile Buyer's Guide, even have a color picture for the 1972 Snowmobile Buyer's Guide. And literally, just like Motor Trend typically does with cars, they have a major breakdown of the different companies. Arctic Cat, Ariens, Bolins, Bombardier, Coleman, Evinrude, Johnson, Kekoffer Mercury, Polaris. Check this out. I mean, literally, just like they do on cars, a breakdown on all the specs of the new 1972 snowmobiles. So what did they tell you? The engine. They gave you the model, the engine, what it was powered by, horsepower, number of cylinders. Most of these were 2 cylinders. Some of them were 1 cylinder. Fuel capacity, starting system, dimensions, track dimensions, approximate weight, and price. So, I mean, it is literally a buyer's guide for snowmobiles. That's right. I'm like Mark. That's too cold. Yeah. So that's why Big Job said he would have looked at that when he was a kid. That's why I had to mention it. Off topic, but so cool that I thought it was neat that at least had to talk about it, mention it, go over it. For the 1972 snowmobiles. So that's what I had picked out for articles tonight. Let's go ahead and check out some ads. Starting off with another off-topic ad, but something that I guarantee you guys are going to remember from back in the day. Appreciate that, guys, taking care of that for me. Any 14 records, only $2.86. Yes, it's the Columbia House ad. Everybody's got to remember this. Some of you may still be paying them. I don't know. Any 14 records, only $2.86. What were the hit records? Chicago, Santana, The Fifth Dimension, Three Dog Night, Joan Baez, Black Sabbath, The Carpenters, Janis Joplin, B.B. King, Joe Cocker, Simon and Garfunkel. What's over on this page? Donny Osmond, Deep Purple, Barbra Streisand, Santana, The Dells, Cat Stevens, Ray Stevens, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So Pete was a member. He knows well. So absolutely had to mention that, guys. What else we got for ads? This one I don't think I've ever seen or heard of. The Go battery. The battery you only buy once. In a world where the products you own are constantly wearing out, the Exide Willard Go battery may seem too good to believe. For Go, and that's what it's called, Go, G-O, is guaranteed to last the life of your car. Guaranteed in writing, as long as the Go battery remains in the car you bought it for, it will be replaced absolutely free if it ever fails to hold a charge. Tony, I think we all got hit on the cassettes and CDs. Mark got his butt not water in 69 with Columbia. The Go battery has been torture tested for reliability by every reasonable means, not just for a year or two, but year after year in the laboratory and in cars like yours. The result is a source of energy so dependable that Exide and Willard can confidently guarantee it for the entire life of your car. Ask for the Go battery at your service station, parts store, or repair garage. We guarantee it for the life of your car. Well, obviously, there again, we're looking back with 2020 hindsight. We know that didn't happen. Because today in 2023, they can't make a battery that'll last the lifetime of your car. Even if your car is a battery, they can't make a battery that'll last a lifetime. So, yep, right, just like Mark said, it was too good to be true. Obviously, that's why with this, they probably didn't even run very many of these ads, I bet. But obviously, it didn't work. And to this day, they still don't have a battery that they can guarantee to work for the life of your car. So that's what. So that's why it was kind of weird to see this ad for the Go battery, because I'd never seen a Go battery. And I don't know if any of you have ever remembered seeing a Go battery or not, but I know I never have. Jeep guts. Never before so strong or so sporty. The Jeep Commando, newly designed with the most powerful engines ever and the brightest colors. Jeeps out on the oceans, climbing through the rocks. Yep, I'm going to make it. Last battery Tony bought one lasted a week. Yeah, actually, Scott, that's another good point. Remember a couple weeks ago, I forgot about that. Scott brought up there was a whole article about battery scams, about battery claims. Yeah, I forgot about that, Scott. Thanks for bringing that up. There again, another one that obviously didn't work. But great catch, Scott. Appreciate that. The next ad. Free any 3 stereo LPs, any 1 tape, cartridge, or cassette shown here. But this isn't Columbia House. This is the Record Club of America. These were apparently a huge deal back in the 70s because they were all over 2-page full ads. So anybody remember the Record Club of America as opposed to Columbia House? Let's see who the Record Club of America was promoting this month in January of 72. Steppenwolf, Dionne Warwick, B.J. Thomas, The Who, The Grassroots, The Fifth Dimension, Three Dog Night once again, some Cher, The Jackson 5, The Rolling Stones, Elton John. So all kinds of cool 70s era stuff right there. Few more ads that we're going to check out, and then we'll be ready to wrap this thing up. And once again, I had to throw this one in. We were on a roll, right? But what this does go to show, Tony says, get him a Rush album. What this does go to show is how big these deals were. Because once again, Columbia House, 2 more full pages in the same magazine for Columbia House. 4 full pages, 2 full-page spreads for Columbia House in the same magazine. That just really goes to show how big these record clubs were back in the 70s. Kind of another little funky ad that we don't see very often. Fiat. Apparently no one else believes all this in a $3,600 sports car. The little Fiats, obviously Fiat. Hang in there, Alan. couldn't take the Donnie Marie albums. Fiat tried to come in the 70s. They obviously have been trying to get a foothold in America again. Obviously, with the merger with Chrysler, they tried very hard to get a good foothold in America, and still, even to this day, 50 years later, really doesn't seem like Fiat has much of a foothold in the United States. So they're still trying, but they kind of been trying for like 50 years now. So. How about some oil? While Quaker State Racing Oil is winning races, our racing van is winning friends. Whenever you find Group 44 competing, you won't have to look very far for the Quaker State Big Green Van. Its assignment, hauling the team's cars and equipment from track to track. Check this thing out. And this was a pretty big deal back in the day. Its assignment, hauling. Before and during the action, it serves as headquarters for racing drivers and their friends. People like you out for a day at the races, people talking cars and sharing ideas. Now, in today's world, obviously, this is pretty normal. But a transporter 18-wheeler hauling race cars back in 72 was a pretty big deal. I mean, shoot, there's some guys now with these stackers and toters, just your sportsmen, that are huge, huge operations now. Mark's kitten is attacking his feet. So, pretty big deal in 72 to actually have a full racing hauler set up to haul cars. And they're, again, talking about hospitality. Obviously, that's pretty commonplace today. In 72, that was a pretty big deal. Next ad, full color. Panasonic. Our new home stereo lets you finish the unfinished symphony in your car. A transportable 8-track player. Yes, pull the 8-track player out of your home stereo, put it in your car stereo. Obviously, old technology for that time. I mean, GM had transportables as factory options by the late 50s. But there again, full color ad, definitely 70s era. Thought it was way too cool. Couple of more ads, and then we're going to be getting close to wrapping up tonight. This one, there again, so 70s. Completely off topic, but so 70s. For Winston cigarettes. Of course, Winston sponsored everything back then. Winston's down-home taste, so real, so rich, so good. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Which is kind of crazy to think about, truth in advertising. Actually, this is even... No big Surgeon General's warning box on this. You can see it on the side of the pack. No CB ads yet. We'll see next week if we find some CB ads later on. It has this. You can see the warning right here. That might have been what they let him get away with. You don't have this box like you got today on anything you see with tobacco. But hey, man, we're just hanging out, playing some checkers, smoking some Winstons. Yeah, that's right. Record players, that was primarily Chrysler that had record players available. One more ad that we've got to catch. And this is a great ad for a super cool car. I do want one of these. I would like to find a good one. An AMC ad in full color. A Gremlin with the heart of a javelin. The Gremlin X with a 304. I would love to have a little Gremlin X with a 304. I think that would be super cool. Well, there's Gray Kitty. Hello, Dum Dum. You decided to come back in? You did. Yeah, I think this is cool. Look like Sleepy Joe in the Winston ad. I don't know. Gray Kitty, what are you doing? I don't know. It'll be kind of a stretch, but I tell you one thing, that dude's got the biggest eyebrows I've seen in an ad in a while. Alan's history teacher had a Levi's Gremlin. I wouldn't mind a Levi's Gremlin, but I would really like to have a Gremlin X. Dude at a car show and swapped me yesterday a Chevy V8 and a Mini Cooper. I bet that was interesting. So, oh, it was an X. It was a Levi's X. That would be even cooler. So anyway, we'll get into some more of this next week. Mark had a buddy with a 308 with an X with a 304 and said it would roast the tires. I bet it would. That's why I think it'd be funny to have a Gremlin X with a 304. They made him cut his eyebrows when he became president. What? You gonna come say hi tonight? You do? You want to come say hi? Brown Auto Salvage in Texas has one. It's green. Hey, come here, dum-dum. Meow. Meow. You going to come say hi real quick? Yeah, seen the Hemi Grimmy. Scott had a 71 AMX 401 4-speed. That would be pretty odd in a 71 for sure. Hey, where'd you go? You going to come say hi or are you going to stay down for tonight? I guess you don't want to come up tonight. So that'll do it for the first half of the January 1972 issue of Motor Trend. We'll catch the back half of this magazine next week and wrap it up. What? Are you going to come up and say hi? Come on. Come on. All right, say hi real quick. There you go. Look, everyone say hi. You've been hiding all night. You've been in the shop till just now. She's been out in the shop hanging out and just came back into the office. So. You gonna say hi to everybody? Look, say hi. Yeah, say hi to everybody. See, they're all saying hi to you. Yes, you're the Gray Kitty. No, you don't go that way. That's where the keyboards are at. You can sit here and say hi, then you need to get down. All right, go this way. What? Oh, now you want to be up here. All right. Well, you got to say hi tonight, dum-dum. Pretty cool mag, especially the snowmobiles. The snowmobiles, like I said, completely off topic, but I absolutely thought that had to be worth checking out. So, Big Job's mystery gift from the Raffle from the bonus drawing last week was a toy 57 Ford. Sweet, that was a win for you, Big Job, because we didn't even look at those. All right, she's back eating, so I don't think she cares what we're doing now. Well, that was a win. I'm glad that was a cool piece for you, Big Job. But anyway, that'll catch it for the magazine. What else is coming up? Toy Tuesday. We've got a viewer box for Toy Tuesday, so you'll definitely want to jump on Tuesday night. We will do a viewer box Tuesday night. Got some new inventory to do. I did a video on the three-wheeler today. So we will get that up sometime this week on the 82 Honda S185 three-wheeler. That might bring some memories back for some of you guys, or like a few of the comments earlier, scary memories about killing yourselves on one. So We'll get the video up on the 185 3-wheeler. Like I said, I've got so much stuff to do. It's just off the charts how many videos I've got almost 20 new inventory videos that we need to get done. So I've got to get some of those shot. Still got some absolutely killer Pioneer Village stuff in the can that we haven't done yet. This Facebook thing is still flickering on me. It's driving me nuts. I keep thinking there's a new comment like every 30 seconds. So lots of cool Pioneer Village stuff. Kevin, I'm teaching again till spring. I have to watch Toy Tuesday the next day. Well, at least you can catch it, but it's a lot more fun when you're on live with us, Kevin. So we will definitely get some, like I said, some new inventory. I got to keep feeding these Pioneer Village videos out because I got so many super cool Pioneer Village videos in the can that you guys aren't going to want to miss. And start feeding those out. At this point, my plans are to be back next Sunday. I'll just be gone for a couple days. So next Sunday night should be normal. Same bat time, same bat station. 7 o'clock here, just normal time. Just hopefully things work next week. So at least right now, even if you got a little bit of lag, you're still catching up just a few seconds behind us. Just kind of tough to do that in the middle of the auctions. That doesn't work out very well, and it isn't very fair for anybody. But that's all right, because we still got a big pile of super cool stuff right here ready for next week. And over there, and over there. Kat, what are you doing? She's over there eating, and she reached into the bowl, pulled one piece of food out, knocked it on the floor, and ate it. And she just did it again. You don't like to eat out of the bowl? She's literally reaching in, pulling a piece of food out, and eating it off the floor. Jeez. Mark just hit the like button. I appreciate that. Big Job's other half rolled her eyes when you said the Big Job was calling my name, and she said, yeah. I know you got a lot. I know you got some great trucks, that's for sure. Kevin L is actually just went to Pioneer Village and is still excited about the videos, even though he's seen it all in person. So glad you're liking those and glad that you guys are enjoying those as well. So we'll get some more of those up and definitely get some of that new inventory ready. Be sure to check out F&E Collector Auto Auction channel. I will be feeding a lot of those videos this week, as well as feeding a lot of that stuff to Facebook, also pictures and videos. So keep up with that. It would be awesome if some of you guys want to come out. Like I said, I will post that hotel information on the F&E Collector Auto Auction Facebook page if any of you guys are interested, or you can always call me and get it, since the Best Western is giving us a room rate of $89 for anybody coming in for the auction. And it'd be awesome to see some of you guys here. Come buy something, come sell something, come hang out with us. I got to order the beer. I've got to get the beer order in this week, so I will be getting on that. So we have you missed a couple things, Big Job. We did 5 pieces and it was so wonky and weird and it wasn't working right. We just we're punting until next week on the rest of it. So that's why we're about done also, because we just kind of punted on the auctions as everybody decided to save it and try it again next week. So, which is fine. Works out good for me too. So we'll see you live Tuesday night. We'll get some of this other stuff up. Stay tuned for the 3-wheeler video. Be sure to check out the F&E Collector Auto Auction stuff, because I will be posting a lot of videos on there over the next week or two, working our way up to the auction. So it'd be awesome if some of you guys can make it. If you have any questions about that as well, just give me a shout. More than happy to get you any information you need to consign a car, get registered to bid, hotel information, and hope to see some of you here. Kenny says, thanks for number 180. Yep, kind of crazy to think that this is the 180th time we've done this. Just off the charts that you guys keep coming back and making it what it is. And for that, I thank you guys for your support, help, camaraderie, friendship, and making this what it is. So with that, I'm going to wrap this thing up, sign off for tonight. Hope everybody has a great week. Definitely hope to see some of you guys Tuesday night for Toy Tuesday. And definitely hope to see you right back here next Sunday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time for Sunday Night Live Chat. Looks like all the rest of these comments are just signing off. Yep, 181 next week. Great. Thanks for the Johnny Carson comments. I appreciate that. I just try to do a good job for you guys. I'm glad you guys are having fun. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the support. Thanks for making this what it is. Have a great week, everybody, and we will see you Tuesday night. And if not, we sure hope to see you next Sunday night for number 181. Thanks for watching, everybody.